Hey, what's going on, guys? Indy here with Ultimate Tour Reviews, and I've actually got a little garden slash herb garden, a vegetable slash herb garden, you could say, going on. Ever since I got that garden outside set up, I think I did that a couple months ago. We've actually been growing tomatoes, some basil in there. It's been a really fun, gardening experience here in Florida. And the one thing we keep forgetting to do, though, is water it, because it's kind of off the weird side of the house. We don't really go over there too much, and we forget to water it. Of course, we're in summer here in Florida, so if you don't water it one day, things start really, taking a turn for the worse there. So I wanted to check out some watering solutions here. Now, I've got plenty of sprinklers here, that's no problem, but I have no real way to kind of set it and forget it is kind of the big thing there. I want to be able to maybe control it from an app, or even have the app control itself based on things like, how much water those plants need, as well as do we have rain right now or not, which is pretty easy to answer. We don't have any rain right now. This year's been extremely dry. Everywhere you look right now, a lot of the lakes are really far down, ponds are far down. I even did a couple other videos too where I was talking about the lake I'm on right now. I've only got about a foot of water at the end of my dock right now, which is pretty wild. So anyways, I've got a Rainpoint, and this is the B-Hyve, kind of interesting name there. Got two different automatic watering, kind of, watering zone, Wi-Fi timers, whatever you want to call them. They're basically designed to, you can see it very easy on this package here. You hook it up right up to your outdoor faucet. Of course, you put the unit in, and of course, you put a hose on at the end with a sprinkler, and then you can water whatever you need to water: grass, plants, vegetables, herb garden, wherever you got, on a set schedule, timer, or based on wherever the weather is right now. So between these two setup, I will say Rainpoint, very easy setup, but it's a much more basic device than the B-Hyve. So first thing you do is, of course, put some batteries in here. These are, of course, are going to be outside because these have to be on your faucet. There are two devices that go inside. It's going to be your wireless bridge. I'll get to that in just a second for both of these, though. But these are going to go outside. Of course, they're probably going to be IP something rated. I'd say between the four batteries in here, there's a very small silicone seal in here. You can kind of see it in there. Very, very tiny. And of course, that's what's going to keep this thing dry and running over the years here, with, of course, being rained on, being out in the sun. And setting this thing up in the app, very simple. Create an account quick, asks you just a couple of questions, put the batteries in, connects to it, and I was ready to go within, I think, under 3 or 4 minutes. It was really quick. Download the app. Everything was very, very clean, very, very smooth there. Now, the B-Hyve, on the other hand, I had more issues. I kept getting a couple of errors here and there, but the amount of additional features in this thing is just wild. This thing actually has a flow meter, so it detects how much water you're using, also how much water you're saving as well, too. And the amount of settings in here for setting up sprinklers is just wild. You can choose the type of sprinkler you have, the angle it's set at, how much coverage you're doing. This thing connects with local weather and is able to determine, hey, you got this much rain, here's how much we should use a sprinkler. It's quite a bit smarter than the Rainpoint, whereas the Rainpoint is like plug and go, and you're all set to roll here. So really simple. Definitely two different designs, and I've actually been using these for a little bit. And at the end of the video, guys, I'll kind of let you know which one I prefer, but I can't comment on the overall durability and reliability of these. I will say, in my testing so far, they've worked as intended. I haven't had an issue with them skipping anything rain-wise. Now, they do say, plug it in and forget it. Not necessarily true, because both of these have batteries in it. Of course, this one has 4 batteries. This one only has 2 batteries in the B-Hyve. And I will say the seal on here is a lot more, I guess, robust than the Rainpoint there. 2 batteries, though. Of course, this one will probably die a little bit sooner. You need to replace the batteries a bit sooner than the Rainpoint. All right, moving over to the wireless bridges here. Now, my first impression was, wow, the Rainpoint is a lot more polished of a bridge. Of course, they both just plug in. However, though, the B-Hyve actually kind of makes sense here. It's going to be just a little USB dongle that plugs into a wall wart here. I actually kind of like the design a little bit better, because this allows me to plug this in via USB, maybe somewhere else more hidden, and not actually have to use a wall wart. Kind of interesting design there. That kind of accurately describes my whole experience between these two devices here. Is the Rainpoint very polished but less features, whereas the B-Hyve has more options but is a little bit more cumbersome on a lot of different areas of the overall setup and somewhat use here and there. So overall construction on these is rather similar. Of course, this has a copper screw in here where you, of course, set this up right to your faucet. And of course, you put the garden hose on this side. Yeah, these are kind of bulky. That's kind of what you would expect from these things. You know, it's not uncommon, but that kind of is what it is, unfortunately, with these. It'd be kind of cool to see these a bit smaller in the future, as they are a bit bulky here. Weight-wise, I would say the Rainpoint definitely weighs a bit more. It's also a bit larger, too. Whereas the B-Hyve, very similar design, a little bit more compact here. It looks a little more like futuristic a little bit. And this has a nice, of course, you know, copper bronze here, and it's got a nice little, it's like a silicone coating on here. Definitely makes it a bit easier to screw in. So slight differences there, but of course they both allow somewhat of a smart watering zone. I will say, though, the features in the B-Hyve are far exceeding the Rainpoint, whereas if you just want something that's kind of plug and ready to go, Rainpoint's easy choice there. So guys, let's go take this outside. I'm going to show you how these things work, and we'll go from there. All right, so we're going to start out with the Rainpoint. It has two basic settings, of course. We can turn it on to a quick irrigation mode, set how much time we want. It also has a misting mode, which it's doing right now. So it's going to turn on for a couple seconds, then turn off for a couple seconds, and basically allow that water to saturate the ground better. Very cool, actually, with this sprinkler, because it allows you to save water, especially in the hotter months of the year, as I'm watering this entire yard and, of course, our garden over there. So kind of cool, the kind of cool modes there, I guess, but I wish a little bit more customization with the modes. Of course, though, for basic use, it's pretty simple, honestly. You set a schedule, you set a timer, and there you go. You're pretty much done just like that. So overall, if you want just raw simplicity, the Rainpoint, actually a fantastic choice there. I gotta say, just screwing in the B-Hyve here, it feels way higher quality. I feel like I can get a much tighter grip on there and get that seal really nice. Especially on the upper screw there. That feels really, really good. Feels like I need to get a nice grip on there. So let's get this thing turned on. All right, so now we have the B-Hyve just in the regular operation of manual mode. No special fancy, you know, miss modes or anything like that, like the Rainpoint has. Of course, it's just a little bit simpler design that way. I will say I have been getting like just a handful of issues where it says like cannot connect at this time. I try again 10 minutes later, then it works fine. So kind of weird stuff. The actual smart point has worked for me every single time. Never a single issue with connection on that thing so far. It seems to just work, and it's just a little bit easier to use, whereas the B-Hyve, of course, a little bit more complicated, a little bit more work to do it, and of course the connection issues, that's just going to really be the app has a little bit less polish to it, so that's about it there. All right, guys, so at the end of the day, I got to use these for a bit of time here, really see which one I liked better, which one I liked worse, kind of say. I'm not, it's not necessarily like a better or a worse kind of thing. It's kind of more of which one you actually need. The B-Hyve, bit more complicated. App is definitely not as polished. A couple of, you know, connection issues here and there, but it worked just fine for the most part. The smart scheduling was pretty awesome. Built-in flow meter was pretty awesome. You can definitely tell how much water it uses. Again, in the app, it's all relatively simple. You know, it's all pretty straightforward stuff. Whereas the Rainpoint kind of felt like the Apple product of the bunch here. It just worked right out of the box. Had no firmware updates. I actually had to do 3 firmware updates on this thing before I could use it. It was like a good 15 minutes of firmware updates. Kind of annoying if you wanted to pull this thing out of the box and get going. Rainpoint was definitely the one that just out of the box, boom, ready to go. Super easy setup. However, though, the B-Hyve felt kind of more of like the Android with a bit more hassle there, but you do get a lot more bang for your buck there because you have a lot more options. However, though, polish there wasn't as good, but they both did the job. That's kind of the cool thing. And at the end of the day, this is a very simple job, just turning on basically a hose. That's about all they're really doing. Of course, the data and being able to control it is, of course, the key thing here. That's what you're paying for. But at the end of the day, it's a very simple operation of what we're trying to accomplish here. So guys, both very cool. Leave the links in the description, guys. You want to check these things out. And I'm loving these smart devices. You know, it's really cool, kind of help you solve small problems. They are a fantastic tool to use. especially if you want to get things done and not forget. Like I don't want to, kill my garden by not watering it. So having some of these devices really help make a difference there. So guys, thanks for watching. Take care. Have a great day and stay safe out there.